Good evening, morning, or whenever you're watching this. I do appreciate your choice in watching this film today. Now, time to get into it. The following film is a series of interviews with 26 queer people at L'Anse Creuse High School, separated into 9 segments, as well as an additional 2 segments, which will be revealed when we do get to them. This film is a compilation of 3 forms of interviews, those being video and audio, only audio, and text. For the text interviews, there will be no music or noise playing over top of them. Furthermore, not a single letter was changed or omitted from the text interviews. One last thing. This film was neither made by or with the support of L'Anse Creuse High School's main directorial staff.
My full name is Brain Jacob.
Emily.
Hi, I'm Brooklyn.
Jaden Clark.
Hello, my name is Daisy Crawford, and people call me Daisy, but I actually...
My name is Sophia.
Aria.
My preferred name is Esper.
I'm Bailey Karpinski.
Ariana Renee Foster.
Well, my preferred name is Sadie.
Isabel.
Izzy Hobbs.
My preferred full name is Maxwell Reh.
My pronouns are he, him.
They, her.
My pronouns are she, her.
He, him.
My pronouns are they.
She, they.
They, she.
Or they, them.
I go by she, they.
She, her.
She, her.
She, her.
She, they.
My pronouns are he, him.
Identify as a transgender male pansexual.
Lesbian and a demi-girl.
And I identify as bisexual.
I'm bi.
I identify as a non-binary person, and I also identify as a lesbian, but people's typical definition of lesbian doesn't really match my version. You know,
Yeah.
for me, it's like non-men loving non-men.
Yeah.
Most people that means I'm a girl, but that is in fact not true.
I'm pansexual. I am a demi-girl, and sexually I am unlabeled. I identify as non-binary.
I'm a bisexual demi-girl.
I'm bisexual.
Trans and so on.
Bisexual. I've been bisexual for 5 years now.
Bye.
And so
I
on.
am bisexual.
I identify as asexual.
Obviously, there could be more, but I wouldn't say that we're excluded. As I said, there could definitely be more inclusivity at our school, but yeah.
The in the counselor's office, they have a poster, and it says like a bunch of like LGBTQ stuff. And then when I walk into the office, they have another little thing set up, and then one of the teachers walks around with the little pins on.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm really happy, and I see it.
I think we're pretty good. We have a couple teachers who are gay themselves. I love them all. We have almost all of the staff in the school is very neutral. They don't care if you're LGBTQ or not. It doesn't really matter. Most people just treat you normally. There's not really much discrimination. The only thing that really stands out to me about my school's inclusivity is that we don't have a gender neutral bathroom. And it's a really old school building, and our school is always trying to raise more money because they don't have a lot. So they don't really have enough money right now, I don't believe, to build a new bathroom. But I hope that they will start saving for that and look to it in the future, because I believe that would help a lot of people who are struggling with dysphoria or their identity, or just aren't comfortable being in a bathroom with people they don't identify with.
There's not a lot of it. It's not a lot of gay people here, but I guess because where we live at, so.
Thoughts about inclusivity. There aren't a lot of opportunities for inclusivity at the school, and there's not a lot of opportunities for, like, for our voices to be heard and things like that, which is, like, a pretty typical thing, but,
Yeah.
other than that, I'd find it harder rather than, if there's, like, a spectrum, I'd find it harder to have your voice heard rather than better.
Yeah. What was that?
That's just my opinion.
I feel like there's honestly not that much inclusivity at the school, because I myself haven't had anyone be homophobic specifically to me, but I know my friends have, and I feel like there should be more. People just don't talk about it, like, unless they're part of the community. Like, there should be more. There should be like a LGBTQ plus club at the school or something. I think it could be better. I think there's a lot of improvements that need to be made, especially when it comes to how other students treat people in the LGBTQ community. I don't really think it's inclusive at all.
The inclusivity is definitely not beautiful because, well, a lot of people in this school, especially students alone, just are not supportive of anything. And, well, I guess my personal thing is you don't have to be supportive. You can just leave people alone. A lot of people don't do that either. I've been and have seen people just be like attacked before for just being gay, which isn't cool.
Not the best. Definitely a lot more straight people that think that homophobia is okay to act upon.
I mean, it's all right, but it 100% could be a hell of a lot better.
It's pretty inclusive, but it could be better.
Well, at our school, it's kind of a mixed bag. Certainly, since I'm doing this project right now, I've certainly learned more about some of the people at our school. But previously, when I had first come to L'Anse Creuse High School, I saw very little inclusivity aside from like the few people who I knew were queer before doing this project. So.
There are a plethora, so many queer people at this school. Uh, all of my friends are queer in some way. There's just, I mean, every four cis het people at this school, there is one queer person. So there are a ton.
Well, everyone that I've met, they're very nice and welcoming, and I feel accepted for who I am.
We're all youth. Almost all of us relate to each other in very similar stories of figuring ourselves out. Everyone's pretty normal. You know, we're all just people. We all just want to be treated the same. We're just normal people. We're just here. Just have a different label.
Like the ones I meet here, they're cool. Yeah, they're cool.
I think that often we kind of get treated as like circus animals in a way. Sometimes I feel like it's really hard to be an LGBTQ youth at our school. I've had pictures taken of me, you know, the usual.
Yeah.
I think a lot of kids get targeted, especially because we outwardly dress differently. We sometimes talk differently. A lot of different things. And I think that, you know, that does give more room to like target us in certain things like that. So that's fun.
I feel like there's I'm sorry.
It's okay.
friends are part of the community, and there's a lot more than people think, but you can't always tell, like, if they're part of the community, and not everyone's really open about it. So
I think it's a good community. I think there's a lot of, our school is pretty split 50-50 with people who aren't in the community and people who are. But especially in the community, I feel like there's a lot of drama and a lot of messed up things that have happened, especially from what I've heard from some of my friends. And I think that bond or that like, relationship between those people could be a lot better if it wasn't so hostile.
I think the people part of the community at our school are really nice and welcoming.
There's a lot of them, including me. There's a lot of people, especially I've met so many, and I know there's more, but I mean, I have a very neutral opinion. I've met good people, I've met bad people. There's people in every group.
Well, I'm a part of a straight gay club, like joining forces club, started by Will and Rowan. So I think that it's starting to get better.
I think it's okay. I do support it because I'm a part of it. I mean, no one really mistreat anyone. No one calls it out. At my old school, it was pretty bad. Everyone would call each other names, call each other faggots and stuff like that. And I did not like that, honestly. It was not really good. So.
A huge majority of the people that I've ran into who are a part of the LGBTQ community at this school are pretty fucking toxic. However, there's also a lot of good people that I know of right now. They're the best. Love you, Phantom.
It's a lot of people that you would not expect.
Could you give me some examples?
Kids who are not very open and who look normal. Then we got the goth who you would obviously tell they want to be rebellious.
Overall, I'd say the community here is quite very large and quite welcoming. Given the fact that I was managed to interview 25 people here, and they were all open to me interviewing them and were not hostile about it, I'd say they're pretty welcoming. Sure, there are some people who are part of the community at L'Anse Creuse High School who are not the best. There are some people, I'm not gonna name names just because I don't want them to get bullied just for that. I'm against something like that, so. overall the community is quite good aside from a few people, and those few people most likely know who they are.
Terrible. I think that is especially the treatment of trans people in our country. It's just awful when we're just trying to basically live our lives and they're trying their hardest to slaughter us, basically.
I think it's pretty good. There are some areas that you wouldn't want to openly admit that you're LGBTQ, which I hope will change in the future, but for now, that's just how it is. But most areas are really accepting or just don't really care. And in my country, I also think it's really good. In the United States, gay marriage is legal. You're allowed to take testosterone or estrogen. You just have to consult your doctor first. You're allowed to get top surgery, you're allowed to get bottom surgery, and you're allowed to legally change your name. Which makes transitioning a lot easier if you're, say, transgender, rather than in another country where you're not allowed to get those surgeries, and it leaves a lot of people being really insecure.
As a whole, it's terrible. I think it's bad. It's very bad, yeah.
My opinions about the LGBTQ community in this state/country. I think that it's definitely getting better over time, and it is, but if we don't keep on fighting for it, then it's gonna go away, because there's active legislation that is trying to be passed to take away our rights anyways, so, we can't stay idle, and we have to keep on fighting for our rights and for what we want. Although we have, certain rights now, not all, but certain rights, they can be taken any day, so it's a constant battle, and, that's just, we gotta do it,
Well, it's definitely not that good. There's I see, especially in the country in general, a lot of people in the community being attacked, or especially trans people, or how gay marriage wasn't legalized until 2016, and just seeing so many people being homophobic.
There's places in the country that have very good treatment. They treat LGBTQIA plus members very well, and then there's also other places that don't. But it's also a matter of fact of some people's views and some people's beliefs, which should not be a part of it, because they have no control over what one person feels they are, and what another person feels they are. And it's just not right. It's not as inclusive as it can be.
The people are treated pretty badly. They're not really welcomed by most people.
In Michigan alone, it's pretty good. It's not, we're not being lynched, so it's a win. In America in general, it's kind of a hit or miss, depending on where you are. I mean, obviously there's the stereotypical down south, you're not very loved, but like, I think there's a lot of like under homophobia that isn't paid much attention to because of just standards, double standards and stuff.
Very much frowned upon. They're trying to ban gay marriage again, and it's just not going well.
I think it's okay, mostly. The laws that they've been making about the LGBTQ plus is not really okay with me, but in the state, it's been okay.
In the country of the United States, it's fucking terrible. Has anyone seen the news lately about like the transgender bill laws?
Yeah, and the drag shit. Yeah, that shit's fucked up.
That shit's like fucked up.
They're pretty discriminated against. Gay is normally used as a derogative term, and yeah, it's just very looked down upon.
Well, overall, in terms of the country, it's not good. It's not good. It's getting oh, I can't speak. It's going downhill. Ever since the Don't Say Gay bill was passed in Florida, more states have been more open to criminalizing being queer. Like for example, that one trying to think of what else. Like a bunch of those anti-trans bills that were being passed. I believe one of them was in Tennessee. Those are just horrific. When it comes to my state, Michigan, I'd say it's pretty good. There are certain places where you can be queer, openly queer, like Ferndale or Sagatuck, or whatever that place is called. But there are also some areas where you can't be openly out, and that's a real shame. So.
Terrible. I wish I could do more about it to just hear all of these stories, these terrible stories about people of the LGBT community being attacked and killed mercilessly without even a second thought, and I'm just it terrifies me, honestly. But and you always hope that nothing is going to happen, but nothing is going to happen to you, but you'll never 100% know, because all it takes is one insane person to end your life.
I don't think it's right. There shouldn't be violence towards them just because based on who they like or what they are. Like, people shouldn't be telling me I'm disgusting in the hallways for liking a girl or calling my friends slurs. It's just not right, and we're all still human at the end of the day.
I think nobody should face violence because of what they prefer. It's nobody else's business but them, so I don't know why people are so mad about it. But yeah, violence is not the answer for treating people like that. It's not okay.
I'm actually relating this to a research project that I'm doing in English, and there is a much higher percentage of, especially black women, black trans women, who get violence directed towards them, and it is not okay, obviously, but violence in school, certain things like that, it usually isn't very direct. It's online or in ways where you wouldn't know if it's specifically directed at your identity, but it's a tough battle, and some groups get harmed more than others, but we are all in it too.
It's really sad, especially youth, people, kids being abused because of who they love or, their gender, or getting bullied at school because of it, or, with adults getting, attacked, and that thing that happened at the club for, gay people,
Yeah.
shooting, that was really sad.
I don't think there should be any violence, but it just so happens that we live in a world that is full of violence, and honestly, I don't think there's anything we can do to change that, but it sucks. It really sucks because a lot of people have lost their lives or gotten hurt because of the violence.
I think it's pretty bad. I feel really bad about it because it's just they don't deserve that.
I don't think violence should be part of anything like this, but not with interviews. I mean with um racism and homophobia and stuff. But obviously, people are gonna do what people are gonna do. Like that trans woman that was killed.
Brianna Gay.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. She that was just sad. I mean, a group of her peers, and she didn't deserve any of that. She was it's just sad to me, especially because people are just we just want to live. We just want to be who we are and be alive, and that's not happening.
I mean, in Florida, people are getting outed like every single day in their schools, and I don't think it's okay because they're just trying to live their lives.
I don't really think it's okay to actually put violence to anyone. I mean, we're all human beings, so why can't we just all be friends, you know? It doesn't really matter if you have a sexuality or if you're even trans. It doesn't really matter. We're all humans, so.
Anyway, it's uncalled for. People are people. As I have always said, if you skin us all, we all look the same.
It's harsh. It's pretty bad. Like, you can get kicked out of churches, you can be disowned, you can be even killed by just being yourself.
Well, when it comes to violence, I think that it should not happen. Nobody should be killed or hurt because of how they identify or who they are attracted to, unless they're attracted to minors. In that case, they can be hurt. Anyway, but just the simple fact that some people who are queer are being killed and being hurt just simply because they're trying to live as who they are, and some people don't want that to happen. That's just sad. It's just nothing good. Nothing good.
I learned about it in like the LGBTQIA. I started learning about it in around 4th, 5th grade, but I didn't really put any thought into, oh, I might be bisexual, or oh, I might be lesbian. And trust me, I went through a lot of different identities. I didn't really understand. I was just kind of playing around with titles, doing my research, and eventually I figured it out. So it will take time. You're not going to hear something and immediately know what your identity is, who you are. It takes a lot of time and a lot of research and a lot of thinking.
My experience, relating to school, my experience as a youth, I have had a little bit of hard experience. I wouldn't say that it's been the worst, but most of the time it's online, so that way they can hide their faces and whatever. But there have been plenty times where me and my partner don't really physically interact with each other at school. The most is like a hug here and there. But we have gotten yelled at, we have gotten pushed, shoved, and just not the worst things you can imagine, but it has been, a little difficult. And I don't see it getting better anytime soon, but I'd rather deal with it than not be able to express myself on it. I've had a hard time with my family life and them accepting me. It's gotten better, but there's never a fine line of acceptance or non-acceptance. It can be somewhere in the middle where your parents says they accept you but doesn't show it, or they don't do enough to help you or to, really show you that they know who you are and they accept who you are. It can be a tough challenge, and going through every day, I've had to try to learn to be myself no matter what and dress how I want, look how I want, and I know that I can face discrimination for those things, and I do, but it's worth it because I'm not gonna not be.
Well, my family is for the most part, really supportive, but especially when I was in middle school, a lot of people were homophobic to me and like called me slurs and for just pretty much existing as someone in the community. But other than that, everyone has been super supportive and it's been awesome ever since I came out in like 2020.
Okay.
I would describe it as troubling because for a while there I didn't really know what I was, and especially with some people in my life and around in like the atmosphere of my life, um, it was really hard to figure it out. It always felt like I was doing something wrong for a while there, like I was wrong about who I was and what I felt.
I would describe it as honestly, it's not the best just because of the people in around me. But being in it, the experience is not as bad as it could have been.
It's been really hard to come out to people, as I've experienced. Like one of my parents never even knew, and it's been hard to just find acceptance almost anywhere. While at the same time, there's been an overwhelming amount of acceptance in certain places. Like, that's why I love being in the band, is because everyone is accepting, and it's just like a nice environment.
Being very bad. I've very much been outed by people, and then people have like come up to me and just been like, "Oh, you're gay. Don't have a crush on me," and I don't even know.
Well, it was kind of difficult for me to actually do it because to come out bi to my mom was a little bit struggling to me. I had a hard time actually saying that I'm bi, and it was a little bit tough for me. But then I eventually did tell her, and she was really happy. We had a 2-hour-long conversation about it, and it was just so much, and she did support me, so I was lucky enough to not be kicked out of my house.
Good.
The community has thrived in the past couple years. It has grown, it has gotten new followers, but I feel like some of them don't fully understand who they are yet. But that's okay, they can figure that out later in life.
How would you describe being who you are?
It's still complicated for me.
Considering that I'm only 14 and it was only this past summer that I figured out that I was asexual, it has certainly been a wild ride. Initially, I thought it was like asexual, biromantic. Biromantic is where I'm open to um, romantic attraction on the whole just kind of spectrum. At this point, I just feel fine using asexual and not using biromantic, simply for the fact of I'm open to any type of romance as long as it's of age, and that person is not a dick. I'm fine with that. And plus, ever since I found out who I was, I've been more comfortable with myself. And certainly, and with this project, it allowed me to truly delve deeper into who I was. Because with this project, I'm the only person who is asexual who I interviewed. Well, I'm interviewing myself, so. But other than me, there was at least like 2 other people, and they did not agree to be interviewed, which that's fine. But because of that, I was the only one who was asexual that was interviewed for this film. And I think that truly shows how much of a minority asexual people are. So.
I hope things get better. It's gonna take a while, but I just hope that when we're old enough, our country won't be such a dangerous place for not just queer people, but everyone.
That's pretty much all I have to say. If you are questioning whether or not you're LGBTQ, please do not give up on trying to figure out yourself and who you are. Put thought into it, put time into it. It will take a while, especially if you're still learning about the things. If you go through a phase, I don't quite know how to put it into words or describe it, but if you have a certain amount of time, like a period of time where you believe you're one thing and it turns out that you're actually a different thing, that's perfectly fine, and it doesn't make you invalid. You're just figuring out yourself. Like for me in middle school, up until the end of 8th grade, I was transgender, and I'm not ashamed of it at all. I was figuring myself out. I was transgender, and I was pansexual, and then I was bisexual. Just take time to know yourself, and don't stress about it. Have a good day.
Check out your YouTube channel.
Thank you.
You got some good stuff. So.
Thank you.
Don't be homophobic.
I wish to say thanks to all the people who I thankfully interviewed and those who agreed for me to interview them, because without their help, this film would not have been made. initially I thought that this film would have been had maybe 5 interviews, maybe 10, each like 10 minutes long, so it'd be like about an hour and 40. However, because of people sharing this project and then me just reaching out to people, I managed to get 25 people to be interviewed, and that is quite something. And now I'm gonna answer this final question because I'm assuming that at this point you are probably asking why exactly I made this film. So I'm gonna answer that. The reason I made this film is in multiple parts. Like, there's no definitive answer. There's numerous parts about it. So I'll start off with like the widest answer, that being that sure, there are films about LGBTQIA plus youth. However, there have never been any by the youth directly, and I mean feature-length films, not short films, because there's a lot. But when it comes to feature-length films, there's none about. There are a few about LGBTQIA plus youth, but none by them until now. Another reason is that I wanted to give people a voice who had never really had a voice before. Sure, LGBTQ plus youth do have a voice. However, some of them don't feel open to it because of where they live and people they're with. So with this documentary, I wanted to give them a voice because for the most part, some of them never had a voice before. And plus I wanted to show the beauty of a community that are around the same age and that pretty much know each other. So. Another reason I made this thing was to have something to do, because for about 2 years now I've been a filmmaker, and each time I make a new project, I try and make it larger and larger in scope. So with this project, it allowed me to make a truly large scope film. So, and that's why I made this. I hope you've enjoyed it. Now it is time for me to introduce to you Shelby Dara, quite possibly the most important queer person who is currently going to L'Anse Creuse High School. It was around mid-January when I found out about her story. One fateful day, I decided to look up L'Anse Creuse High School queer, and I found out about her story. Now you might ask why she wasn't mentioned in the previous interviews, and that is because, due to time constraints, I was unable to interview her. Although, thanks to Channel 7 WXYZ TV Detroit, you will still be able to meet her.
A fight for inclusivity ends in disappointment for a student at L'Anse Creuse High School. The 12th grader and her mom have been pushing to make homecoming court gender neutral since July.
At a school board meeting tonight, officials denied that request. 7 Action News reporter Alex Bozargian joining us with their battle and why they say it's not over.
Shelby Dara wanted the opportunity to win homecoming court with her non-binary partner. She and her mom pled their case inside here. Board members then discussed it behind closed doors and ultimately decided it was too late to change the rules.
Drum majors Shelby Dara and Emila Mercelovich and the L'Anse Creuse High School Marching Band.
Shelby Dara and Elma Mercelovich are leaders at L'Anse Creuse High School.
They're in fairly high profile positions as students within the district, honor students and drum majors, part of the band program. They are, one of the faces of L'Anse Creuse's most successful program.
The same-sex couple was over the moon when they were each nominated for homecoming court. Shelby identifies as female and Emila as non-binary.
My partner goes by they, them, which means they're not necessarily under either gender, which means they would rather run as either title, so it makes it a lot easier for me to win with them.
Currently, L'Anse Creuse's policy only allows males to be king and females to be queen. Shelby and her mom, Jennifer, have repeatedly asked the district to reconsider.
It really hurts my feelings.
Shelby has spoke at board meetings. She tells us she also tried talking to her principal, who she claims ultimately dismissed her.
He basically just said, yeah, it's out of my power. I don't think we can do that. And then stated again that what we did North had to do.
North is L'Anse Creuse's sister high school. According to this email from an employee to Jennifer, they already have a gender-neutral homecoming court. How disheartening is it to essentially get radio silence from the administration?
It's very disappointing. I'm an alumni here. I was always proud to be an alumni from L'Anse Creuse, and I'm kind of embarrassed, honestly, of the way the adults have handled it.
Shelby and supportive classmates were hoping the rules would change before the homecoming vote on Wednesday.
Being that rules were established at the beginning, we feel very strongly that those rules should be maintained throughout the entire contest. If we change them now, there may be students who would have wanted to participate under the new rules at the beginning.
Board of Education President Hillary Dubé says the rules are made by a student council, and they will have to decide on that matter for next year. Jennifer says she and her daughter will keep fighting.
And if it can't be fixed for her, it's her opinion that she wants to fix it for those after her.
Jennifer says that students in support are planning to rack up as many votes for Shelby as possible. If Shelby does win, she plans to pass her crown off to her partner at the ceremony on Friday. In Clinton Township, I'm Alex Bozargian for 7 Action News.
Although it seems that just about everybody sympathized with her and her story, there were still some individuals who were against her. Luckily, however, her goal of winning was successful, and on Friday, September 30th, Shelby and her partner, Elma, led the homecoming procession at L'Anse Creuse High School's homecoming parade. Have you experienced any homophobia or transphobia at L'Anse Creuse High School? If so, please detail it to me.
So, people at football games were pointing at me and my friend, and so basically they were just they're like, oh, they're gay for each other, but we're not. And then people keep asking us if we're dating, but it's just at the time they're doing that, I was dating somebody, and it was just kind of it makes me really uncomfortable. And then they take people have taken photos of us in class when only the times when we're hugging, because we're really close, we hug a lot. And it makes me so uncomfortable when they do that.
So basically, like a month ago, it was at the end of the school day, and I was walking out one of the side doors when these two guys, I think they were juniors or seniors, started following me to my car and were screaming, "Fag, fag, fag, faggot, fag, faggot," over and over at me until I got to my car and locked the doors. They kept yelling but started walking away at that point. It's always little jokes by my straight friends who don't understand they're a part of the reason people like me feel ashamed to come out. Or real pervy guys. Guys with lesbians go crazy and get off on a girl-on-girl stuff. It's really gross. Or there was a girl who outed me to pretty much everyone, and her doing that single-handedly changed how people looked at me and treated me. Last year, I had people commenting on my junk because I wore pants for once. As I said earlier, I just got banned from using the bathrooms last Friday. I constantly deal with people saying little things that just get on my nerves, and then when I report, the staff does nothing about it. Last year, I reported over 200 instances, and barely anything was done.
Yeah. One time I was just talking with my friends and people just yell faggot across the hallway, or just call us gays, and just very rude about it.
I have. Especially in middle school, there were a certain group of people that I had classes with them, and obviously in middle school it's a lot smaller, so you have you're a lot more in touch with everybody around you. I would get called slurs, like faggot and other things that didn't even apply to me. So I just got a lot of aggression and stuff. I've been passed notes before, kill yourself, you're an idiot, you're stupid little gay, and it's I don't understand why people can't just leave other people alone.
at least sort of indirectly. Like, I've heard people say a bunch of homophobic things in the hallways, and people have sort of come on my ass about being bi, which isn't really good.
There's a lot of homophobia in our school. I remember one time when I was walking to class, I heard a boy say the F slur to one of his friends, and I'm sure that he's very straight. And there you have it, some of the queer individuals at L'Anse Creuse High School. There are a few more queer people who do go to L'Anse Creuse High School, but they did not wish to be interviewed. I hope that you've learned to accept these people as who they are, and to understand why they are who they are. This film was made as a direct response to a wide array of the anti-LGBTQ+ laws that are being passed all throughout the United States. Part of the reason I made this film was to have a record of a group of people trying to live their lives despite the laws being passed throughout our native country. I hope that you've enjoyed watching this film and take something from it. Before you go, I want you to remember this, whoever you might be. You are who you are, and there is no changing that.